Sex is not a public thing. Even if the whole culture is making it look like it's okay to do it anywhere and anyhow, sex is not for the public. Sex is one of the most misunderstood and most mishandled issues in relationships we have in our world today. It's amazing to think that with the millions of people that have sex illegally and legally according to how the scripture prescribes, people find it very inappropriate to talk about sex. Yet, it is a vital part of our relationships. You know, children who are growing up do not even get to have the sexual discussion about what it is like with their body and how they should position with themselves for marriage. The few people who talk about it mostly talk about it in light of having you to just prepare yourself to the point where you only need to avoid it or do it in a way where you don't get pregnant. So sexuality has been reduced to the physicality as it were for it. In today's episode, we'll be talking about how this sacred intimacy, you need to understand the mindset and the approach that you need to use to go about it. Who made sex? What was sex meant for? How is sex meant to be had? So those are the things we're going to be exploring today. And by the end of this episode, you should be able to understand who made it, what it was meant for, how it's supposed to be had, and when it's supposed to be had. So today we'll be helping you explore these things to just allow you enjoy and question the mindset that you might already have about how sex is supposed to occur. Now, I know you already have your opinion about what sex is, how it is, and you're probably already having it. You probably have a lot of kids already, and you probably know how sex works. In fact, in Genesis, we see the first man and the first woman who knew each other, and the Bible records that Adam and Eve knew each other and they gave birth to children. Yes, when the Bible recorded that they knew each other, it was after the fall, but obviously they should have been having sex even before the fall. But even in Genesis, the foundational scriptures, I'm a believer in God, and I believe God is the one that made the world, and I believe God is the one who made sex. So the first thing we're trying to establish is who made it. Who made it? And who made it is God. That's what we're trying to say. Who created sex? God created sex. God created sex. So if God was the one who created sex, it means that God is the one who we should go to get to understand how sex works. So in our world today, so many of us would have sex, and and sex is just about physicality. How you just get to meet the other person and you both get ejaculation and that's done. You hit climax and you are good. Sometimes sex is just there for all you need to do is it's just pure physical emotions. So sometimes your reasons for having sex is because you got honey. That's your reason. So your only reason for having sex is because you got honey. So what is sex for? What is sex for? You see, sex was designed by God, that like we have already established, and He designed it as a covenant act between a husband and a wife to strengthen their emotional bond, to strengthen their spiritual bond, and to strengthen their physical intimacy. So sex, again, it was ordained by God as a covenant act between the husband and the wife to strengthen physical, emotional, and spiritual bond. So it helps them connect in degree that just mere words will not do. But it's also between husband and wife because it is a heart that helps them remember that they're in covenant together. So sex is a heart of covenant, is a heart that is preserved for those in a covenant relationship. Why am I saying this? Because you already know, if you're a Christian in any degree, in any circle, you already know that sex is preserved. Is this sacred intimacy is preserved for husband and wife. But for some reason, you think it is okay to have it outside of marriage. So why in God's name would it make you start feeling emotions for sex from the age of 13? Why would you start feeling attracted to someone and you want to be able to connect with them from the age of 16, 17? Why are these hormones raging in your body? Well, God put it there because He needs you to be able to understand that what you have is going to be used for covenant reasons. It is activated there because it serves Him first. This is for the young people as what you need for service. You give those hormones that are raging as your act of sacrificial service to God before you get married. When you are now married, it becomes an act of covenant with the person you are married with. So this idea of, you just tearing your shirts and meeting somebody and you guys just go on the bed and you kiss for so long and it's just like, wow. That's not what sex is meant for. That's not what sex is meant for. Sex was meant for physical, spiritual, and emotional connection. So, because we're a little bit focused on the married people today. So, now you are married. How are you supposed to have sex in your marriage? How does sex work in your marriage? You see, the practical thing is, in the Bible, Paul told us in 1 Corinthians 7 that the marriage bed is a place for mutuality. The husband should be seeking to satisfy his wife, and the wife should be seeking to satisfy their husband. Marriage is not a place to stand up for your rights. Marriage is a decision to serve the other person, whether in bed or out of bed. So, who made sex? God made sex. What was sex meant for? Sex was meant as a covenant. Covenant, between you and your husband for physical, for space, spiritual, and emotional connection. So it deepens your connections in these places. That's what sex was meant for. So how is sex supposed to be had? Well, sex is supposed to be had as a service. You are not supposed to have sex because you want to pleasure yourself. Pleasuring of yourself is the outcome of having sex. The reason that you are having sex is because you were trying to serve your partner. Yeah, it's already sounding very strange to you, right? But I didn't say this. I didn't come up with the concept of sex. God is the creator of sex, and God is already telling us how we are supposed to have it. You are supposed to have sex because you are trying to service your partner. That's the reason for having sex. You want to please your partner. Again, I read it to you again. Paul is saying clearly, the marriage bed must be a place of mutuality, which means that you can't come to the marriage bed alone for your own benefits. Your reason for having sex is not because you want to get something out of it. Your reason for having sex is because you want to give something from it. The husband is seeking to satisfy his wife, and the wife is seeking to satisfy his husband. It is in the place where you are both seeking to satisfy each other. Of course, you get pleasure out of it, but your goal was to satisfy the other person. The other person's goal was to satisfy you. Your only feeling is a complementary trigger that God put inside of you to help you want to satisfy the other person. To enhance your emotions. But your emotions are not the reasons to have it. So God made it so you can satisfy the other person. So your sexual need to be with your partner is not because your libido is high this season. That's a reason for your partner to service you. But that's not the reason for you to want it for your partner. Because your partner's libido might not be high when your libido is high. Your partner will not be horny when you are horny. But you are supposed to service each other. Sometimes your emotions clock at the same time. But you are servicing a spiritual need also. You're not just servicing a physical need, you are servicing an emotional need also. And those servicing you are doing it under covenant to God. When you really understand sex, the sexiness goes out of it first. Because what the media have helped you to take in is that sex is about sexiness. So sex is about how the laps turn out to look. Sex is about, dripping six-pack and coming up a bit. Sex is about how the boobs are showing. And while those are triggers, that is not what sex is for. Sex is a covenant that you are doing to God to strengthen physical, emotional, and spiritual bond. That's why God made it. That's what it's for. It's to bring you to a place of oneness beyond what word can describe. So if you are servicing in sex, you can pray while you're having sex. One of the things that I find most amusing is that Christians say you can't play a worship song while you're having sex. I'm not by any means asking you to play worship songs while you're having sex. That's up to you. But the fact that you have already psychologically tuned off. You're already tuned off because you think you can't have sex while playing a music in worship to God. Then you have a mindset issue that you need to change. Because God created sex and it's there. You can play any music you want, but to not think you can pray over your spouse while having sex. To not think you can have conversations with your spouse while having sex. To not think you can be having sex and have discussions. To think that the only thing that should happen in the sex bed is mourning, is to be mistaken and to underplay the importance of sex in your relationships. Because the covenant that you have with your spouse allows you to have sex to the degree that is beyond physical. So if it's just physical, you can have sex with any random person. But there's a spiritual aspect that it strengthens. There's an emotional aspect that it strengthens. Sex, one of the reasons why it is important that sex is done within the covenant of marriage is because sex involves vulnerability. Before you open your clothes, you would have open your heart to the person. So, while you are being vulnerable, you are bare naked physically. Except, you are picking up different of devices, which, I leave that to you to explore. But regardless, there's no point you can have sex with clothes over your private parts. So you need to have skin to skin, or you need to be naked to be able to have sex. And it requires that your nakedness is a sign of vulnerability and trust. So your emotions, your intellect, your thoughts has been expressed to this person. And that's why you have sex with the person in a way that when you are done, you don't just feel physically fulfilled. You are emotionally, psychologically fulfilled. Because you rendered a service and somebody rendered a service back to you in return. That's how you should have sex. You should have sex as a service. You should have sex as a service. Your how is that you are having sex as a service. Your how is that your service is bringing bond that strengthens you and your partner together. Your how for having sex is that for every time you people do it, you are reigniting that your emotional bonds are strengthened, your physical bonds are strengthened, your spiritual bond is strengthened. You are vulnerable enough with your partner that they see through you. They get, God created sex that a man and a woman will get into each other. You literally are supposed to get into each other. So how are you supposed to have sex? You're not supposed to have sex alone. Covenant is not done alone. Covenant is not done imaginary. So you can ejaculate without having sex. You can even get to your climax level without having sex. Because covenant is something that is done between two parties. So it means that you can't masturbate. You can't use sex toy. It's not inside the model of the person who created it. It's not inside. These are tools that are now brought in that you are supposed to use to substitute you from getting the full value of what was created for you initially. So you are shortchanging yourself. When are you supposed to have sex? When are you supposed to have sex? Obviously, we've established it. It's done within covenant. So you're supposed to have sex when you are married. You're supposed to have sex when you are married. But when are you supposed to have sex? You're supposed to have sex every time. You're supposed to have sex as often as you need to strengthen your intimacy. So you're supposed to have sex as often as your intimacy needs to be strengthened. You're supposed to have sex as often as your spiritual bond needs to be strengthened. You're supposed to have sex as often as your physical bond needs to have sex. You're feeling a little bit drawn away from your partner. Go and service your partner, and your partner needs to service you, and you have sex. You're feeling emotionally down and disconnected with your partner. Go have sex. Married people, go have sex. Go have sex with your partner and strengthen that emotional bond again. You're feeling physically down. And you're feeling like, oh, we've not been speaking for a while. Go have sex. Have it in the morning, have it in the afternoon, have it in the night. Have it as you need your emotions and your connection to be strengthened. It has absolutely nothing, and it is wrong to place the ability for you to have sex on the time you would feel like having sex. You are in covenant. Whether you feel like it or you don't feel like it, you need to go and strengthen your bond. It is there to help you preserve your bond and help you stay as one body. There's a reason why the two bodies will need to connect. It is connecting because the bond needs to be strengthened. You need to connect to strengthen the bond. The longer you stay away from it, the longer you stay away from, the lower the intensity of your bond. You remember when you first got married? You remember the days during your honeymoon? If you were doing it right, you would have felt like it was bliss for you. You need to strengthen the bond within yourself. Why now? Why? Why are you having issues with sex? Why are you having issues with sex? And yes, why? From when you've been single and young until now, the media have been bombarding you with the wrong images of sex. And you freely accepted because they concentrated on stimulating only your emotions. And everything that brings fall to man or brings you down in any area of your being is when your flesh is the one driving you. Once your senses is what's driving you, then I guarantee you're no more functioning in God's will. So, you've watched pornography. You've seen that what it takes for you to have sex would mean you off the lights, you kiss slowly, you remove the dress, and then that's how it's supposed to be. Or you've seen that, no, you're supposed to tear shirts. What I mean by tear shirts is rip each other apart physically and want to pounce on each other and carry people up to degrees. You've also been told that what it takes to enjoy sex is the duration. It needs to be long. You've had images in your mind about how your body needs to be stimulated by a certain look and feel and sound. So every time you don't see that in your home, you can't do it. Why are you not having sex God's way? You've had sex before in the past. So you have the images and memories of what has happened in the past. Even when you are married, you know you are thinking about having sex with somebody else while you're having sex with your partner. And you are supposed to, you can't experience what God wants you to experience in sex when that's happening in your head. Because the way God designed it in the first place was you not to even have any memory of sex with anybody. But now you already have. Now you feel shame. Now you feel shame. You feel a certain degree of shame because your sexual experience before now, you've not expressed vulnerability with your partner about it. So have you ever, people say this a lot, you're not supposed to tell your partner everything. But if marriage is a prototype of the way we are with God, and God says, you are supposed to tell me everything. Question, don't God know everything about you already? Why does He require you to say it? Because speaking it out is you choosing to come out, to be vulnerable, and to accept and embrace healing and love. So you've not said what your experience are. You've not said what your fear are. You've not placed them with your partner. So because sex and the covenant of sex requires complete intimacy and vulnerability to get to that point of intimacy, you won't get there. You have the wrong mindset about it. Your body will get there, but your soul will not get there. If you are married here, hopefully you've not experienced this if you are not married, but if you are married here, you've had sex the wrong way before and you ejaculated, but your mind didn't feel satisfied. Your soul was not satisfied. You would know as you are listening now that you did it the wrong way. Your body was there, but your emotions and your spirit wasn't there. Why are you not getting it and experiencing it the way you are supposed to experience it, the way God made it? You are not communicating with your partner as to what's happening to you per time. It's supposed to be a heart of service. So at the moment, your partner says, I want your servicing, and you are not in a place where you can give good servicing. You are not in a you've not decided that you want your relationship to reflect God's kingdom to a point where you can now say, oh, honey, can you give me 30 minutes to get myself there? I'm kind of strained where I am here mentally, or my mind is just taken about to this place mentally. So just give me 5 minutes. But the only picture you have in your head is that the moment you touch your spouse and they ask you to give 5 or 30 minutes, they've turned you off. Where did you learn that from? You saw it from the movies and you read it from the magazine. It didn't come from the kingdom. How do I know? You have had times where you wanted to pray and you were like, okay, I need to get somewhere in 2 minutes so I can concentrate and pray and give God my entire heart. And God doesn't get angry. But you've been wired that because your partner doesn't just agree in an instant, that's a turn off. Your partner have put you off. Why are you not experiencing it the way God wants you to experience it? Because you think sex is about you. Because you think sex is about the activity. So you want it now, you want it this way, and the partner must give you that way. If not, you are gone. So your reason, you've been positioned that is about you. It's not about the other person. So once your needs are met, that's it. So you've had wrong images in your head about it before. You've had sex before, and you've retained a memory of when you felt a bit of pleasure with your sex, with your flesh, and that's the only high you are looking for with your partner. So you are trying to replay something that is not even okay for you to replay with somebody else. You are afraid to say what's going on, or you are afraid to share what has gone on. You've been told that turning off or not operating well will mean a turn off. Oh, let me just quickly put the kid to bed. I'm coming back soon. You've seen the movie, right? Where the other partner has slept off. And you think that's what's happening in your marriage. That's not what happens with God. You get to do your service regardless. Some days you will feel like, and some days you will not feel like. If you are really married and you are having sex the right way, I promise you, there'll be many days you don't feel like. So let me give you a way to know you are doing it the right way. You are doing it many days because you don't feel like. Why? So, if you were a single person and you were just dabbling in sin once in a while, it means that you don't get to have sex every day. Yeah? So you only look forward to having sex when your emotions want it. When you are married and you get to have sex once, 2, 3 times, 4 times a week, your body have not had time to catch up. But then you are arranging service. And you are arranging service to somebody you love. So it's pleasurable service. It's pleasurable service. 3 things that helps you position for great sex. 3 things. You approach your spouse with the mindset of service. I know you want to be served. When you serve this person well enough, the person will serve you back. You marry somebody who loves you, right? So why are you worried that if you give to the person will not give back to you? Did you marry somebody that loves you? Did you marry somebody who wants the best for you? You are suspecting the person because you've been selfish for too long. But you have to approach the bed with mutuality, looking to satisfy the other person. You have to approach it with service. You have to look forward to saying, it's okay that you are tired now. Lay down, I'll do all the job. You came to service. Do the job. Do the job of servicing. Some days your emotions will be so high, wonderful. Many days they won't be. Because it's beyond the physicality of it. You need to also understand that abstinence is a gift in marriage. Because some days, because it is servicing, you will go to service and the person who you want to service will say, give me 2-3 hours more. And you have to wait. Because it is service, so one person will be menstruating. And you have to wait. You have to approach it with the mindset that you are giving to the other person. You have to be willing to say, the images you had before cannot play out. So here's a trick to having great sex. Talk to God while you're having sex. If you cannot imagine talking to God in a split second while you're having sex, your sexual life is just in the physical realm, and you are not going to enjoy fully what it means to have sex in your marriage God's way. Because when you talk to God, the images of your past will be wiped away. When you go to serve the other person, it will not be you first and you will not be you-centered. When your reason for having sex, you do not have a turn-off button, you'll be able to have sex anytime. When you are not only driven by the clues and the cues. I see some posts that we make about sex. So the man wants to have sex, but tonight the woman is wearing a long gown, so it means that the door is closed. That's not how the communication is done in marriage. You speak to your spouse where you need a few minutes break. Because just down that scripture, Paul tells us if you need to pray and fast, you communicate with your spouse. If something is going on, you communicate with your spouse. He allows for proper intimacy when it's time to have sex. Because you want to have sex and your only form of communication is to wear a short knicker and the man is watching football and he's supposed to know and he doesn't know, it means he doesn't pay attention to you, then it means that you are turned off. And because somebody outside, so that's it. See the way the devil is playing with your mind. Then somebody outside sees you on shirt and says you look sexy, and suddenly you're not saying that you don't look sexy anymore to your husband. He's only focused on watching football or doing what he's doing, and you've not said anything. And suddenly you're admiring somebody outside. You see where he's sitting from. You see where you are going to. And the day he comes to have sex, I'm not doing this for you. You are losing the grip on the foundation of the way the person who created it. And the moment you're doing it outside of the way he created it, you are going to lose to experience all the things he have asked you to experience in it. Way more than physical pleasure is emotional pleasure. I dare you to pray with your spouse this week when you're having sex. I dare you to bless your spouse when you're having sex. I dare you to have conversations with your spouse when you're having sex. I dare you to say things beyond I love you or mourn for me, I just need you to do this for me when you're having sex. I dare you to have sex and be able to say your dreams together. It's not sounding sexy to you, Abby. It's almost turning you off. Because you think that the only thing about sex is supposed to be what? The image of sexuality that you have given. Perversion and God's sexiness are not the same thing. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. You have the power to stay in constant bond, because for you to remove your clothes physically, it also means that it requires you to remove your clothes emotionally, spiritually, mentally with the person you're having sex with. It's on that grounds that you keep having sex. So if you are going to have sex every week, it means that you are in constant communication emotionally, spiritually, every week. So when you remove your physical clothes, the emotional and spiritual clothes are already off. And that's how you come to the bed. Vulnerable, ready for service. Vulnerable, ready for service. Vulnerable and not saying, you're turning me off. You come ready to serve your partner. So ask your spouse this week, what can I do for you in bed? Take a day. It might be weird if you've never done this before. Because for some of you, sex is a tool to get money. How low? How low? So you have sex and the next thing you are trying to find out cash. Or it's a tool to get your spouse to do something for you. That's not it. So if that's how you've done before and you are approached to say, what can I do for you today? They will suspect you. Because what you are doing is strange to them. However, don't stop. Go ahead and be willing to have the conversations that says, how can I serve you in bed? What do you like? Where should I touch you? Where should I not touch you? What can I say? What will be extreme? Am I exploring well? Is this okay? Should I go further? Should I stop here? And the thing about sex and service is that the thing you did yesterday that was okay will probably not work today. So it means that every day, because you are servicing, every day you are asking those questions. Is this working today? No, it's not working. Okay, let's explore something else. So you are willing, take this month as a month that you are willing to serve your partner in bed. The scripture says in bed and out of bed, and today we're focused on the in bed. Be willing to approach your bed with mutuality of service. Service. Does this one work for you? This is working for you tomorrow. Okay, what should we explore together? You can read about sex without watching pornography. You can't watch two people having sex and say you want to use it to learn how to have sex. Question: the two people who are showing you how to have sex, are they married? Alright, so even if they are married, are they supposed to bring their covenant union to you in public? One of David's sons took one of his concubines up to the roof where everybody could see, pitch a tent and had sex with her there, and God judged him for that. Because sex is not a public thing. Even if the whole culture is making it look like it's okay to do it anywhere and anyhow, sex is not for the public. But you can understand sexuality without turning off yourself. You need to watch the movies that they are having sex for the wrong reason and pause it, remove it, forward it, or skip it completely. If you want to have the whole of God with all His pleasure, you have to go all in. So I challenge you this week to service your partner in bed. Service their need. Pray with them when you are having sex. Pray for them when you are having sex. Don't go praying if you've never done it before out loud. One person might be freaked out. Don't go praying if you've not talked about it before. One person might be freaked out, but you can pray in your heart. You can pray in your heart. You and somebody are to be one. Enjoy your oneness. Go have a sexed up life that is filled with God's grace and power. In your oneness, decree things over your future. In your oneness, agree to the next move for your family. In your oneness, call forth the children from your loins the way you want it. In your oneness, agree there will be no room for the devil. In your oneness, kill lusts from each other. Because a strong bone cannot be broken. And the way God designed it is that you need to constantly keep that bone strengthened. The fact that you did it so much in January doesn't mean it should reduce in February. So I challenge you this week to approach your bed with a place of service and see your sex life completely torn. Approach your bed beyond your physical needs and see the bond and sexuality for your home completely change. This is Love with Ini. Till we see you again next week. Bye-bye.